Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Bulletproof for BJJ podcast. On today's episode, we talk about why it's so hard to learn BJJ. There are 4 key things that are adding resistance to your learning journey. Step 1, we talk about why the movements are so awkward and what you can do to quickly overcome this and become a better mover. Number 2, we talk about the infinite world of techniques, combinations, sequences, and positions, and how you can break through this noise to get a clear understanding to learn better. Number 3, how the chaotic elements of training partners can either help you or hinder you, and what you can do to be a better training partner. And number 4, how coaches can also influence you in a way that will dramatically accelerate or slow you down, and what it takes to have a good relationship with your coach. Now, if you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, and on all audio platforms, give us a 5-star rating. Let's get into the episode. Now, the third thing I feel, and it's probably the biggest component of all of this, and this is what you were touching on, Joe, is the chaos, the entropy, and the fury which is working with another human. Because this is the nature of Jiu Jitsu, the resistance isn't always the same. The dumbbell is labeled 12.5 kilos. You go to pick it up, it's 17, it's 25 kilos. You're like, why is this so hard today? Your training partner has decided, no, I don't care about your learning. I don't care about what you're doing. I'm doing whatever I want today. And you have no say in that. How your training partner shows up is luck of the draw. Sometimes they're empathetic, or sometimes they're helpful. Sometimes they're trying to kill you. That is nothing that you can control, and this often gets us feeling down in the dumps about our skills. Similar to what you're saying about looking around at what others do, it's also what others do to you. Yeah. So if you end up rolling with someone who you think you're similar, like maybe they've got a couple more stripes than you, but we're both white belts, we're the same. No, you didn't see all the extra work they were doing or the extra drilling. And so this sets up like a really confusing expectation that you think, we should be doing similarly well. Like, why is that guy so good at all the drills? Why is that I always get beaten by that guy? And all these, it makes you question your ability, but it doesn't make you actually account for they have their skills and I have my limited set of skills. And that's why when we come together, I don't do as well. It doesn't mean you suck. It just means you're not as good as them. Yeah. And that's fine. And I think that this is a huge thing within Jiu Jitsu, that not only the comparison piece where we look at someone else doing better, but also just our inability to succeed against somebody. And we think, that means I suck. And it's only really, I've found it with many people, once they get kind of maybe 6 months in, they roll with the trial guy, the free trial guy, and they absolutely destroy somebody. And this is the hardest thing. We're always comparing ourselves to people who are our level or better, but we don't think, how much better am I than someone who doesn't know any jiu-jitsu, or someone who has never done this? Yeah. And that really, that can confuse people as to if they're improving or not.
Yeah, like one practical thing around that could be like, I don't know, maybe once a couple times a year, you go, hey guys, tonight's jiu-jitsu class, not in the academy. We're going to walk the streets, and everyone's just going to pick some random dude or chick and just submit them. You know what I mean? And it's just like know what you're going to hit before you approach. Snap down. Gillo, whatever, arm drag,
roll, heel hook,
but like hard and fast,
straight to the streets.
And the whole point of it's kind of like The Purge. Yeah, you've seen that film, right?
It's The Purge meets Fight Club.
Yeah, it just like
one night of the year.
It empowers every grappler's soul for the next 6 months. Like, I can kick the shit out of some 9-to-5 dad that's just picking his kids up from tennis practice.
Yeah, and I mean, he was wearing those business shoes, so it's really good to get the bite on the heel.
Yeah. Once you lock in on that leather heel.
Gotcha. Well, what I was going to say with that is the other thing too, which is difficult, is your training partners, even if you started at the same time, you're both getting better at the same time. So
yeah, they're not a good barometer.
No, because they are also learning what the fuck you are good at. And then they're saying to the coach, hey coach, how do I stop so-and-so from doing that thing to me? And they start countering you. And it's so much more dynamic. So it's like, it's as if you keep picking up the same dumbbells, but they are getting heavier as you're getting stronger. And you're like, still says 10 kilos on these dumbbells, but aren't I stronger? Like, why aren't I picking up the heavier dumbbells? And this is the thing that we really can't account for. And it really isn't till we get a contrast or competition where we find out where we actually stand, which is really tough because
well, I think, to that point, you never actually know where you stand, right? Because you are always grappling against other people that are also grappling and trying to get better. In that way, right? Like it is hard to gain an objective perspective of where you're at.
Yes.
Which, fascinating.
It is part of jiu-jitsu. We do accept the terms and conditions of this weird thing we do.
JT and I have worked in gyms and specifically with grapplers for over 20 years between the two of us. And one thing that we've learned is how to build strong, robust, flexible humans who can thrive on the mats, but also thrive off the mats. And this is exactly why we built the Bulletproof for BJJ program. The Bulletproof for BJJ program was the whole reason we started this podcast. And if you want to access those programs that we've built specifically for people like yourself, all you got to do is go to the App Store, download the app, and you can start a 2-week free trial today. Go to the App Store on whichever device you have, search Bulletproof for BJJ, start your free trial and get coached by us.
But it's also so that you can think, well, all right, well, because your training partner's probably experiencing something similar where they're like, I can never get that thing on this guy.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, it's because I've watched the Lachlan Giles tutorial on how to counter that shit, boy. And then this is like the arms race of jiu-jitsu. And this is why instructionals have become so popular, because everyone's trying to get the new knowledge to have like an edge.
Yeah.
And I even found this when I was in Brazil.
Bunch of edgelords.
Edgelords. If I could get a technique against somebody, or those boys would then go chat and talk about how to beat it. And so next time I would not get that success.
Yeah.
I'm out here by myself and they're all like colluding against me and plotting on my downfall.
Yeah.
And that's evolution, folks. But here's the thing. I feel the fourth piece of the puzzle, which it can be to your advantage. We've talked about why this could be a good thing, but often why it might be difficult is coaching is not consistent. Results may vary. If you've been able to randomly find a gym and you immediately love your coach loves you, and they think you're great, you're probably going to have a really good time because they're really thinking about you and trying to help you. If you go to a gym and maybe you don't have a strong connection with the coach and you're trying your best, but they actually don't really give a shit about your progress other than, hey, just keep turning up. The feedback is inconsistent. And I think this is a massive, massive problem. The lack of feedback, coach to student, is huge. And because obviously you're saying like there's a group setting. So there's only so much like one-to-one time you can get with your coach unless you're paying for private lessons. Therefore, some days maybe we've all experienced this, right? You're nailing the technique. You're like, I mastered this technique. I'm so good. Coach comes over, show me the technique. You're like, coach is watching, don't stuff it up. Coach is like, got a bit of work to do here. Yeah, but you didn't see the 20 good ones I did. And this is often the thing. You feel like you're doing pretty good. You're rolling, you're killing it, and then you notice coach is like watching. You're like, pressure's on.
Got to kill it harder now.
I must perform. I got swept, and now I'm getting smashed. I feel that, and it's not blaming the coach per se, because we're all in this situation, whether you're a coach or a student, but the inconsistency of feedback makes jiu-jitsu harder to learn.
Are you saying inconsistency in terms of a particular coach is inconsistent, or it's just coaches generally are?
No. I think
like some are good, some are bad.
No, the situation in which we learn jiu-jitsu is not set up well for consistent feedback.
Right, yeah,
like
absolutely.
At the end of class, you might high five or shake hands or whatever the you do, but the coach isn't like pulling you to the side at the end of the class and going, you did this well, but I think you need to improve that.
Yeah.
Now that would be hard to do, but imagine if that happened every class.
Yeah.
You were like, thumbs up, you did this good, but I noticed that this needs work.
Yeah.
And that every single student got that amount of attention and feedback. That's pretty hard to organize.
Oh yeah, but it'd be powerful.
How good would it
And
be?
and you can see it's more of a thing that happens at smaller gyms.
Yeah.
When they're younger, like a younger academy where there's just 20 members.
Yes.
But yeah, that's right. It's once the team gets busy and shit, you might go weeks longer. You might go months. I remember going months without coach saying anything.
Yeah. And that can be difficult. And it's not even about approval. It's not even about like, oh, coach doesn't love
There's
it.
feedback.
It's just you knowing where the fuck you're at. Because maybe you did something real good and you didn't even realize.
Yeah.
And maybe you just, one small mistake meant your guard got passed and then you got smashed for the rest of the round. But everything else you were doing was very good.
Yeah.
And if no one's watching and or maybe you film the role, but you don't even know what you're looking at, the feedback piece is massive. And I think there's also another thing here too. Like we're talking about, obviously, if you run a jiu-jitsu gym, you want it to be busy. You want it to make money. You want it to be successful. But there's this weird mixture, as you're saying, like earlier on in the jiu-jitsu journey for a gym, it's kind of better when it's smaller. I think it's like anything.
Yeah.
Great cafe, great club. There's even a party. Like there's a critical threshold of people where it's like, this is cool. And then it starts to get a bit bigger or more popular, and you're like, oh, this is getting a bit diluted.
Normies around
There's
here.
too many in here. And then everybody's in there and you're like, this shit isn't cool anymore. And it's not just that. It's just there is a critical paradigm, which is the gym needs to be successful and make money for it to be sustained. But if it's too many people, then people don't get enough attention, enough feedback, and the quality goes down. And you see this in every endeavor in life.
But yeah, early on, the coach is over-delivering because
Yes.
they're extremely concerned that they're going to have to close their business.
Mm.
So they're doing an amazing job, and there's only half a dozen of you there. So you're like, how good is
This
this?
is the best.
Yeah.
And I do remember the early days of a gym and what that was like to just be like 8 people sitting around the coach and the coach is dropping gems. And then the next minute there's 50 people in the class and you're lucky if you get a role with your coach, you know?
Yeah.
And this is the nature of things, but
Brings about different benefits, by the way, as it grows. But
and you've got more people to play with and that's all good. But what is often good for the gym or the coach isn't necessarily what's good for you. Like this idea that just keep showing up, train more. Well, actually, maybe you need to train a little bit less. Like if you're already training 3 times or 4 times a week, training a 5th time might actually not be good for you, even though it's good for the gym.
Yeah.
Having more bodies on the mat, everyone come to open mat, huge open mat. How good's this? Well, maybe you should have taken that day off to like, I don't know, go for a swim or have a stretch or go for a walk or, you know what I mean? So I think sometimes the feedback you do get from the coach is really just in the nature of the interest of the business, not you as an individual.
Yeah.
And this can be a bit of a problem. And I think that for a lot of people, they're just trying to please the coach because ultimately we get hooked up on the belt system or the grading system. Like, got to keep the coach happy, otherwise I'm never going to get that next stripe, you know? And we really, the whole carrot and stick, like we get so, you know, they always talk about like, you know the self and do what's right by you. But you're really just playing this game of pandering to the coach. That is like a huge component. You're like, because also if the coach doesn't like me, the coach isn't going to show me any cool jiu-jitsu shit. And if you have like a fairly objective, nice coach, they won't treat you differently because you've been busy with work or family and you didn't come to training. They're not going to be like, oh, you don't care about jiu-jitsu. It's like, no, I get it. You've got a busy life. I understand. I'm not going to bias against you. But I have seen that where you just see it naturally where the coach gravitates towards the students who are there all the time.
Yeah.
And that may not be you. And then you get kind of outside the clique. I don't know if you've ever had this experience, Joe, where
I'm always in the center of the
you're
clique.
always in the clique.
Everyone wants me in their clique, bro.
I know, it's revolting. No, it's fine. I'm just jealous. But that's the thing. When you're outside the clique, it feels very difficult to break in. Learning jiu-jitsu is hard, and we know why you struggle, because you're doing it solo. You need Submeta. Submeta is the most comprehensive online learning tutorial for jiu-jitsu. It is set up in a structure so that not only do you get to access some of the best videos on all of the techniques, but it is in a structure you will remember. Whether you're a white belt or a black belt, there's something in there for you to learn. And as a podcast listener, when you use the code Bulletproof16, you can get $16 off when you subscribe at submeta.io. Training Jiu-Jitsu is hard, especially if you are dehydrated. Now, one of the best ways for you to be able to fight dehydration is with sodi. The absolute best mix of sodium, potassium, and magnesium is going to fight the muscle cramps. It's going to give you maximum energy, and you're going to roll better. When you go to sodi, SODII.com.au, use the code Bulletproof15 and get 15% off and get hydrated for better jiu-jitsu. Especially if your life doesn't afford you to just live on the mat.
For sure. And that would be, I guess you'd say that that's when there's not a parallel of kind of values or something. Like whatever. It's a fucking team that loves to smoke weed and you don't. Yes. And so it's like, I don't know if I fit in here.
Team that loves steroids, but you don't.
That's right. But maybe you could learn to love them, James.
No, thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. But I think there is also, separate to that, is the difficulty in what you want versus what you need. And this often comes from a good coach saying to you, hey, I know you really want to do leg locks right now, but you have absolutely no takedowns at all. You should learn a takedown or two. Shut up, coach. You're too old school. I want to learn this leg lock shit. And it's like, yeah, but you just Batman meme. But Batman, fucking bang. A good discerning coach will do their best to try to fill the gaps. Like if they understand you, they will try and help you. Like, oh look, like we need to work on your game as a whole. And they do think about it because they're trying to help you. But you're like, but that's not what I want. And there's this, it's a bit of a delicate balance, right? Because we have the consumer conflict. I'm the consumer. Give me what I want. If you don't give me what I want, you, I'm out of here. But often what you want is not what you
I'm going to Gracie Barra. Take it back. I'm going to Gracie Barra, man. You can't stop me. Get the out of here. But
this is a difficulty, right? Because discernment is really, I feel, the role of the coach. The information's all out there.
Well, this is the, this is the art of coaching, isn't it? That there's, you're trying to guide somebody, you're trying to mentor them, and how one coach goes about that compared to another could be very different. So sometimes, you've known those coaches that lead with an iron fist, and it's like, no, motherfucker, this is how we do it. And sometimes that's great. And then you've got ones that are like really understanding and like super passive and like, yeah, whatever you want to do kind of thing. And that might be great too. Maybe it's a timing thing, maybe it's a personality thing, but I feel all those sorts of, there's a space for all of those characters, isn't there?
Definitely. But I'm saying that like in terms of the difficulty of jiu-jitsu, sometimes what you need isn't what you want. So having a coach get you to do something you don't really want to do is actually one of the best things for your game, even though it might feel like, man, the coach doesn't understand me.
Yeah.
But I have definitely had it in my lifetime where I have been pushed by bosses and coaches to do something that I didn't enjoy or I didn't think I would enjoy. But once I was actually able to learn it and get on top of it, I was like, I feel I'm much better at this now.
Yeah.
I'm happy that they pushed me or got me to do the thing I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And this is a difficult thing because we're like, but I'm here at jiu-jitsu. I'm a paying customer. I just want to do what I want to do. And there is a value in...
but did you ever look at it like that? Like I'm a paying customer?
No, not till more recently. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's only since I think I've been like a brown belt, black belt that I've thought, hang on a second, like I want to be able to enjoy certain aspects of jiu-jitsu. And if I'm paying money to a gym and I can't do that, then I'm not super stoked on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think, it is difficult. And this is the thing, folks. When you do jiu-jitsu, it's all one in the same. All these different ideas, whether it be the techniques, the body movements, the training partners, the coaching, it's all just wrapped up into one idea, which is jiu-jitsu. And we just accept, this is hard, we just got to do it. But if you can look at these different components and identify, well, actually, I'm moving pretty good. My training partners are cool. My coach is cool. But maybe I'm just having a struggle interacting in rolling, then you can go work on that thing. And that's why I wanted to do this breakdown, because it might only be one piece of the puzzle that's really f***ing you up. And really, once you start to change it, then jiu-jitsu becomes a less resistant force against you as you progress. And so there it is, folks, breaking it down. Now, if you like this kind of content, then we would appreciate you to like, subscribe, and wherever you're listening to this, give it a 5-star rating. Thank you.